A philosopher who lived nearly 2,000 years ago suddenly wakes up in today's world. He no longer hears the sound of horses galloping on the battlefield, but the ping of phone notifications and AI-generated videos playing automatically on every device. In front of him is not a leather-bound journal, but Veo 3, a machine capable of creating entire worlds from just a single prompt. You type, "a futuristic city at sunset," and just seconds later, Veo 3 generates a flawless short film, so stunning it's almost unbelievable. The whole world applauds. They call it the pinnacle of creativity. But Marcus Aurelius says nothing. He simply watches in silence, then he writes a single line. If everything can be created so easily, can humans still remember how to truly live? Imagine this. A man opens his eyes in a quiet room, not a tent in a battlefield, not the marble palace of Rome, but a minimalist apartment. White walls, a blinking router, the hum of an air purifier. He sits up confused. He walks to the window. Outside, the world buzzes, skyscrapers of glass, glowing billboards, people walking with eyes glued to tiny glowing screens. This man is Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor, Stoic philosopher, warrior of the body and of the mind, and in this moment he is reborn into a time he cannot yet understand. There's a soft beep on the desk, a sleek black laptop. The screen glows. A notification appears. Veo 3 just launched. Create cinematic. Video from text prompts. Marcus sits. He reads the words slowly. He taps a button. The demo plays. He watches. A stunning montage of AI-generated imagery, mountains in the clouds, ancient temples, neon-lit cities, birds flying backward, stars forming shapes. All of it smooth, surreal, stunning, and all of it made by typing. He blinks. In his time, building something like this would require armies, artists, architects, centuries. Now, a few keystrokes. He whispers to himself in Latin, "Num quid vere videmus? Hiot tantum quod vider volumus?" Do we truly see her, or only what we wish to see? He looks at the prompt box. It asks, "What do you want to create today?" He thinks. Then types, "A world where men still look inward." The screen stutters. Then it renders a city, not full of noise but of people sitting silently, writing, thinking, staring into the sky, not their phones. He closes the laptop, not because it was wrong, but because he knows the question is not what this machine can create. It's what we are choosing not to create, because it now creates for us. He walks to the mirror, touches his face, wrinkled, aged. He stares into his own eyes. If a machine can generate beauty on demand, what becomes of the human struggle to find it? Marcus walks outside. The streets are glowing, screens everywhere, not just in hands, on walls, on buses, on coffee cups. Every surface is a canvas, every moment a broadcast. People walk without looking up, eyes locked onto phones, each thumb swipe calling forth a new burst of color, sound, spectacle. Videos slide past in silence, like dreams that no one remembers. He stands still in the middle of it. No one sees him. Everyone is watching something else. A man beside him gasps, not at the sky, not at a child's laughter, but at a clip Veo 3 just generated, a sunrise filmed from the perspective of a falling star. Beautiful, unreal, perfect. But Marcus wonders, if everything is beautiful all the time, what happens to our sense of wonder? He sits on a bench. A digital billboard lights up. Don't imagine the world. Create it. Veo 3, instant cinematic reality. Create? But who is creating? The human or the machine interpreting? The prompt? Is typing a few words into a box still creation? He remembers his own writings, words scratched in dim candlelight on the front lines of war as disease spread through the empire. He never wrote to impress, he wrote to survive, to stay sane, to stay human. You could be good today, but instead you choose tomorrow. He once wrote to himself, "Today the world chooses speed, spectacle, simulation. Tomorrow, they'll choose something newer, but no one chooses to sit still anymore. He watches a child scroll past 100 videos, nature, war, comedy, sorrow, all in 5 minutes. Not a single tear, not a single pause. He whispers, "The eye sees everything, but the soul absorbs nothing." In Rome, there were theatres. You sat, you watched, you felt. You left thinking differently. Here, there is no theatre. The whole world is the show, and no one stays long enough to feel anything. Marcus closes his eyes. He breathes. The Stoic life, he once wrote, is not about avoiding pain, but about not being ruled by it. But what about a life ruled by distraction? What about a world that never stops, even for breath? Marcus walks through a digital art exhibition, except there are no paintings, no sculptures, just floating screens, beaming images from Veo 3, a desert morphing into a neon city, a lion turning into a galaxy, a person dissolving into light. People wear headphones, eyes wide, smiles fixed. One whisper echoes through the room. This is the future, art without artists. Marcus leans against a column. He doesn't dismiss it, he doesn't rage, but he asks himself, what happens to the soul when it consumes beauty it never labored for? In his time, to create beauty meant effort. Stone was carved, paint mixed by hand, mistakes made, hands blistered, but now art is generated in seconds. If the viewer is no longer moved by the effort and the artist no longer needs to suffer to create, is what remains still called creation? He watches a young man scroll through Veo-generated videos, each one more perfect than the last, a mountain that glows, a goddess of code, a utopia with no sorrow. The young man smiles, but it fades quickly. He taps again, again, searching for something, not sure what. Never satisfied, Marcus sees it clearly. He isn't watching, he's being led. Led by what? Not a tyrant, not a god, but by a whisper that says, more colors, more illusion, more perfection. And behind it all, less self. In the Gassi, Stoic journals, Marcus once wrote, "A man is enslaved not by chains, but by his own desires." In 2025, the chains are made of dopamine, invisible, but strong. He wants to tap the young man's shoulder, to ask, when was the last time you saw something? Does he not because it was shown to you, but because you sought it? But he doesn't, because no one listens in the age of autoplay. So he turns away and begins to write, with pen, on paper, slowly, not for the world, but to keep his own mind from drifting into noise. Marcus sits in a modern cafe. Around him, screens glow. A couple creates a travel montage using Veo 3. They haven't left the city in months, yet their video shows them hiking in Patagonia, flying over Iceland, swimming with whales. All generated, all fake, but the likes very real. He listens. No need to book flights, no need to wait, just type, "Sunset over the Sahara with my girlfriend," and boom, memory made. Marcus sips his tea, slowly, then he asks in silence, Is it still a memory, if it never happened? In ancient Rome, stories were earned. You crossed seas, you faced storms, you risked death. Now, you type, adventure is simulated, emotion is replicated, pain is deleted, but so is meaning. The soul, Marcus once wrote, grows strong through friction, through resistance. What happens when friction disappears, when everything becomes too easy, even the act of remembering? He looks around. No, ink-stained fingers. No sweat, no blisters, just taps and swipes. Even grief has templates now. Type, loss of a pet in watercolor, and Veo will deliver a moving tribute in 4K. No tears needed, no raw silence, just curated sadness. Marcus sees it clearly. We have not removed suffering. We have outsourced the need to feel it. In trying to avoid pain, we've also dulled joy, dulled awe, dulled effort. Ease is not evil, but ease without reflection, that's decay in disguise. If everything is effortless, Marcus writes in his new journal, we forget how to strive. And if we forget how to strive, we forget who we are. He stands, leaves the cafe. Behind him, another video is rendering. A fictional life, a perfect illusion, and no one questions it. It is late evening. Marcus Aurelius sits alone in a public library. The room is silent save for the low hum of digital devices and the occasional mechanical sound of a coffee machine in the corner. Around him, students and creators wear noise-cancelling headphones. Their eyes flicker in the glow of their screens. Their hands barely move. The work is not theirs, it flows from tools, from templates, from machines. One girl sighs deeply, then types, "Generate poem, heartbreak, rain, loss of trust. Veo." 3 responds instantly. 4 perfectly structured stanzas appear. Melancholy, poetic, deep, or at least it sounds deep. She reads, nods, posts it. 200 likes in a minute. Marcus watches. He writes nothing. He simply thinks. A poem created in a second, he muses, but born from what pain, from what soul? In his time, heartbreak was not downloadable. It was endured for weeks, months, years. It carved the mind like water carving stone. Loss was not aesthetic. It was wild, uncontrollable, often wordless. He walks to a nearby screen. It displays an ad, "Too tired to feel. Let Veo write your emotions for you." Below it, "From eulogies to wedding vows, crafted instantly, just for you." He stares, not in anger, but in quiet sadness. "We have given up even the work of the soul," he writes in his notebook, "and called it convenience." Machines cannot cry. They do not tremble under the weight of love unspoken. They do not sit sleepless, aching with regret. They do not choke on words too human to be typed. So what do we gain when we let them speak for us? And more importantly, what do we lose? Marcus remembers something he wrote long ago. Do not say more than is necessary. Instead, live in a way that your silence carries meaning. But today, silence is rare. What's abundant is simulated feeling. He watches a man create a grief video. His father has died. But instead of sitting with the weight of it, he opens Veo 3. He types "father, memories, piano music, ocean at sunset." Moments later, a perfect video, dramatic strings, gentle voiceover, visuals that echo sorrow. But the man does not weep. He posts it, checks the likes, refreshes the page. Marcus writes, "If a machine expresses your grief for you, have you truly grieved?" He is not against beauty. He is not against technology. But he fears a world where humans forget how to feel without being told what to feel. He fears a time when we trust machines with our deepest vulnerabilities, because we no longer trust ourselves to hold them. Stoicism never told us to suppress emotion. It told us to master it, to be with it, to refine it through reflection, not outsourcing. The soul is like a fire, Marcus once wrote. You must tend it, not replace it. But in 2025, the fire is fading and covered by LED light, warmth replaced with glow, depth replaced with convenience. And yet, Marcus believes it is not too late. He picks up a pen, not to write for the world, but to practice the one act no machine can ever automate, to feel honestly. Marcus walks into a design studio. The walls are covered in motion, endless screens, each displaying dynamic footage, a flaming city turning into a lotus, a ballet dancer morphing into stardust, a child looking up at an artificial sky. A sign above reads, "Create anything, be anyone, control everything." Veo 3, Creative Hub. Marcus reads it again, slowly. Control everything. And he frowns, not because it's false, but because it's half true. He watches a young artist surrounded by praise. People congratulate her on her new short film. She smiles, accepts the compliments, but doesn't speak much. Her film was made in under 3 minutes. All she did was write, "I want something powerful, emotional, hopeful. With gold light, a girl walking away from fire, ending in sunrise." Veo delivered. Now she is celebrated, admired. But Marcus sees something in her eyes. A flicker of doubt. Did I really create this? Or did I simply ask a machine to create something and wear its costume? Marcus steps outside. The world is glowing with the fantasy of total control, but the Stoic mind knows control, true control, comes not from output but from inner mastery. He writes in his notebook, "To be free is not to command machines, It is to command yourself in the presence of temptation. The illusion now is this: we think we are powerful. Because the tools obey us, we say, "Make me a film." It does. We say, "Animate my dream." It does. But slowly, almost imperceptibly, the machine begins to shape our dreams, our preferences, our expectations. The tool has no will, Marcus writes, but the hand that uses it may lose its own. He watches a generation trained by prompt boxes. Every question begins with, "Give me tere right for me." Show me something that feels like always outward, always instant, never. What do I truly feel? Never. What am I afraid to say even to myself? That kind of creation, raw, human, clumsy, no longer feels useful. But Marcus knows that's where the soul begins. In the marketplace, Veo 3 advertisements promise infinite possibility, zero friction. But Stoicism teaches friction is the path, discipline is freedom. And you don't grow strong by avoiding resistance, but by walking through it. He imagines a blacksmith. In the old world, fire, hammer, metal, sweat. Now, a button labeled forge sword Roman style. The sword is perfect, but no one bleeds for it. Is it still yours if you never suffered to earn it? Is it still art if you never touched the weight of its making? Marcus turns the page in his journal. He writes slowly, "When your tools are too powerful, your sense of power becomes too fragile. The more you can do instantly, the less patience you have to do anything deeply." He walks past a man arguing with his phone. Why didn't Veo capture the mood I wanted? Why is the AI not reading my feelings correctly? This isn't the vibe I imagined. Marcus doesn't laugh. He understands the man thinks he's in control. But he's a slave to his own expectation of perfection. The tool has trained him to be godlike in ability, but childlike in resilience. That is the curse of the modern creator. Marcus closes his notebook and whispers, "The more we try to control everything outside, the more we lose the only thing that ever mattered, control of the self." It is dawn. Marcus stands at the edge of a rooftop, gazing over a city awakening under the pale blue glow of countless screens, digital. Billboards flicker. Cars glide silently, self-driven. People walk while talking to invisible assistants in their ears. Every surface speaks. Every silence is filled. And yet, something essential has gone missing. He closes his eyes. In his time, the future was uncertain, but filled with effort. Now the future is almost certain, but emptied of meaning. The road ahead has no obstacles, but it also has no resistance, no shaping force. If there is no struggle, Marcus writes, there is no soul-making. He visits a school. Children no longer memorize, no longer recite. They interact with personal AIs that answer, correct, suggest, even console. One child fails to spell a word. Her device blinks and says, "It's okay, I've fixed it for you." Another hesitates on a math problem. The system says, "Don't worry, let me do it for you." Marcus watches and quietly mourns. Not because they're learning less, but because they're experiencing less. They no longer wrestle with doubt, no longer sit in confusion, no longer learn that frustration is part of understanding. The fire that tempers iron is the same fire that tempers the soul, Marcus once wrote. Now the fire is gone. He speaks to a teacher. She says, "They learn faster now, they score higher." But they don't ask their own questions anymore. And Marcus answers, "Then we are not teaching them to think, we are training them to obey suggestions." Later he visits a therapy booth, run by AI. A man enters. He speaks of heartbreak, of feeling lost. The AI responds, "You are enough. You deserve joy." Let's reframe this positively. The words are gentle. The voice is perfect. But Marcus hears only one thing missing: silence. The machine cannot sit in stillness with pain. It rushes to solve it, reframe it, push it away. But pain is not always a problem to solve. Sometimes it's a teacher. He writes, "The future must not be a place where suffering is erased, but where suffering is met with courage." As the day ends, Marcus walks through a park. People are smiling, chatting, capturing moments, but many are also alone with their devices, watching memories made by others. A woman passes by laughing at a Veo video. It's beautiful, it's perfect, but it's not hers. What is a future, Marcus wonders, where people live through borrowed images and feel through borrowed emotion? He returns to his room, sits down, opens his notebook. The world is fast, the machines are flawless, but he writes by hand because some things must still be done the slow way if we are to remember who we are. The old Colosseums were made of stone. They echoed with the roar of crowds, the clash of swords, the cries of men who fought to survive. Now Marcus walks through a different kind of Colosseum, the internet. No blood, no dust. But the stakes are no less brutal, because here what is fought over is your attention. Everywhere he looks, someone is performing. A man dances with urgency, hoping for virality. A woman confesses her pain, but only to a camera. A child screams not from fear, but for likes. No lions, no emperors, only algorithms, invisible, but omnipotent. They do not die by sword, Marcus writes. They die by comparison. He remembers how the Roman crowd would demand spectacle, how they cheered not for justice but for stimulation. Today's crowd is no different. It scrolls, it taps, it feeds, it wants outrage, it wants heartbreak, it wants drama, but digestible. A man posts a vulnerable story. He waits, watching the views rise, and Marcus sees something tragic. The man doesn't need healing, he needs validation. If your peace depends on the applause of strangers, Marcus writes, you will never be free. He sits beside a young influencer. She has 5 million followers. Every hour she creates. Every day she must stay relevant. Her eyes are tired. Her smile is practiced. She whispers, if I disappear for a week, I lose everything. Marcus gently replies, then you own nothing, and nothing owns you more than what you think you can't live without. The digital Colosseum does not use swords. It uses dopamine. You are not slain in body, you are scattered in spirit, fragmented by notifications, hijacked by metrics, measured by moments that are never allowed to be private. He watches someone edit a VO3 video. It's stunning. It moves the viewer. It earns a standing ovation from the internet. But Marcus sees through it. There is no courage in automated greatness, he writes. There is only illusion of relevance, of connection, of meaning. He closes his notebook. The Colosseum still exists, but the lions have been replaced with trends, the swords with screens, the audience is everyone. And most don't even realize they're not watching the show. They are the show. Night falls. The city is quiet, but never truly silent. Lights still flicker, screens still glow, people are still online. Marcus sits at a small desk in a darkened room. He turns off the lamp. He breathes. He writes, no one is watching. No one will read this. And that, to him, is the point. In ancient times, solitude was sacred. To walk the woods alone, to think without interruption, to write, not for praise but for clarity. Now even silence is posted. Even solitude is curated. People share their journaling, their meditations, their quiet moments, as if stillness needs an audience. What is solitude, Marcus asks, if it needs to be seen? He remembers when he used to write at war camps by candlelight, while men slept around him, while empires shifted in the dark. No one applauded, no one commented. But he became himself in those unshared hours. He walks through a digital gallery. It showcases mindfulness with VO3, AI-generated scenes of calm forests, voices guiding meditation, ambient sounds. It is beautiful. But to Marcus, something is wrong, because real mindfulness is not aesthetic. It is confrontation. He sees a man record his breathing practice for his followers, then check the engagement, then post again. Marcus writes, to seek presence while performing is to chase 2 winds at once. A woman prays in public, live streaming, every word. A teenager does a silent retreat and uploads daily reflections. Marcus does not judge, but he sees the danger. When nothing is allowed to remain private, we begin to perform even our inner lives. A thought is sacred, Marcus writes, only when it does not beg for approval. He remembers one night in Germania. He was tired, dirty. He had no words left, but he picked up his stylus and wrote one line, "Hold your inner citadel." He did not post it. He did not repeat it aloud. He simply lived by it. Now he sees a world afraid of invisibility. People fear being forgotten. They fear being unacknowledged. They fear being alone with themselves. To live unseen is not a punishment, Marcus writes. It is the training ground of the soul. He lights a single candle, opens a blank page, and begins again. Not for history, not for followers, not for reward, but for one thing only: integrity without audience. The Logos. In Marcus's time, it meant divine reason, the universal order, the force that binds all things with logic, purpose, and harmony. It was not a god to worship, but a principle to live by. Now, in 2025, a new force claims to guide us: the algorithm. It tracks what we click, predicts what we want, decides what we see and what we never will. It does not speak truth, it speaks preference. It does not seek meaning, it seeks engagement. Marcus reflects, Logos asks, what is right? Algorithm asks, what will keep them scrolling? He watches a man ask ChatGPT, what should I believe in? The AI responds eloquently. Dirt offers summaries, comparisons, even ancient quotes. But Marcus sees something hollow in the perfection. The algorithm can retrieve wisdom, he writes, but only the Logos can embody it. He scrolls through a feed. It feels infinite. So much content, so much noise, everything polished, everything optimized. He pauses on a post about Stoicism, his own words, reduced to a soundbite. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Underneath, 10 Stoic quotes to crush 2025. He sighs. The words are mine, he says, but the spirit is lost. Marcus understands. Algorithms reflect your past choices. They trap you in a mirror of what you've already shown interest in, but Logos points you forward to who you could become, not who you have been. He imagines a young person waking up. They check their phone. The algorithm decides their mood, their thoughts, even their desires, before they've made a choice. Marcus writes, if you let a machine lead your morning, you surrender your agency before you even rise. The Logos, by contrast, demands something harder. It asks you to think, to pause, to resist the easy, to embrace the necessary. It asks, what is yours to control today? What would a wise person do now? What is in harmony with nature? These questions don't trend, they don't go viral, but they build a life of substance. He closes his scroll, he opens his journal, and he writes, slowly, deliberately. Follow. The Logos, not because it flatters you, but because it does not need you. Marcus has walked through the world of 2025. He has seen wonders, machines that create beauty, systems that eliminate effort, tools that offer answers faster than thought, and yet he does not fear the machines. He fears what they reveal, a mind that no longer resists, a will that no longer chooses, a soul that no longer trains. He sits in a quiet cafe. Around him, people scroll, their eyes flicker, their fingers twitch, their minds race, but inside, stillness has vanished. He writes, the real threat is not that AI becomes human. The real threat is that humans forget how to be. He meets a young man. The man says, I feel lost. AI can do everything better than me. What's the point of trying? Marcus does not scold, he listens, then says, the point is not to compete with a machine. The point is to complete your character. He continues, machines do not forgive, they do not suffer, they do not grow in adversity. But you can. He remembers his own weakness. He once desired applause, feared death, felt rage. He wrote meditations not because he had mastered life, but because he was failing every day and refused to stop trying. Courage, he writes, is not found in surpassing others, but in surpassing your yesterday. He speaks to a crowd. Now they ask, should we fear AI? Will it replace us? Will we become obsolete? He pauses, then answers, no one becomes obsolete. Who still lives with purpose, who chooses virtue, who resists the pull of ease. But yes, you may be replaced. If you abandon the very things machines cannot do, to endure, to forgive, to love, to lead yourself through suffering, he ends the talk with one line. AI is a tool, but your weakness, that is the true tyrant. He walks away, not afraid of the future, but deeply aware. Every empire falls, not from enemies outside, but from rot within. Marcus stands still while the world around him scrolls. Notifications chime, videos autoplay, content floods like a river with no shore, and he asks, in a world designed to hijack your mind, can you still own yourself? The world of 2025 doesn't need armies to conquer you, it just needs distraction. You don't need to be imprisoned, just addicted, just reactive. Just too tired to care, Marcus walks past a man with earbuds in, screen in hand, eyes glazed. That man is not enslaved by chains, Marcus writes, he is enslaved by noise. To be free today is to be unhackable, not by firewalls or the passwords, but by the strength of your own principles. He teaches, the Stoic shield is not made of iron, but of clarity. Know what you value, know what you control, know what you refuse to trade, even for comfort. A woman asks, how? Do I know I'm being hacked? He replies, if you can't sit still, if you check your phone without purpose, if your day is dictated by the next notification, you've already been breached. He shares 3 Stoic protocols. Daily stillness, 10 minutes, no device, no input, just you and your mind. Reconnect with what's truly yours. Voluntary. Discomfort. Take cold showers, skip indulgence, do hard things, rewire the brain to resist comfort addiction. Internal audit. Every night ask, what distracted me? What triggered me? What did I do on purpose? This is how you harden the mind. This is how you raise the drawbridge. He reminds them, the world will always offer you dopamine, but meaning is earned, not delivered. He closes with a story. A man once asked Marcus, what is the highest freedom? And Marcus answered, to need nothing but your own judgment, to obey no algorithm but your reason, to remain still while the world spins. The video ends on Marcus alone, no music, no edits, just a candle, a pen, and the quiet resolve of a man who refuses to be hacked. Final message. You don't need to be faster than AI. You need to be more human than ever. The future belongs not to the optimized, but to the unchangeable core within those who choose virtue over convenience. You don't need to become a Roman philosopher. You don't have to abandon technology or live like a hermit. You only need to remember this. No machine, no matter how intelligent, can live your life for you. AI can assist you, but only you can build your strength. Only you can choose to live on autopilot or to live with reason. And if you're still watching right now, that's a sign. You are already more awake than most. So begin training your mind, starting from the smallest things. Turn off your device 10 minutes earlier each night. Write a few lines each morning, without AI. Ask one big question and try to answer it. Yourself. No prompts, no shortcuts, you can start now. Right after this video ends, don't click on another one. Don't search for another tool to think for you. Just sit with yourself and ask a simple but profound question. Am I living a life I'm truly proud of? If you dare to ask, Marcus would smile.